Commander Park Ji-ho pressed his palm against the cold metal wall of Lunar Station and felt the vibrations of the massive transmission array charging up. Through the reinforced viewport, Earth looked like a perfect blue jewel hanging in the darkness of space. Down there, 8 billion people were going about their daily lives, completely unaware that their species was about to announce itself to the galaxy. "Final systems check complete, Commander," Lieutenant Kim Sora called out from her station. Her fingers danced across holographic displays, showing signal strength and transmission vectors. "The quantum burst will reach 17 different galactic communication hubs within the next 6 hours." Park nodded slowly. After 43 years of picking up alien chatter from the void, humanity was finally ready to introduce itself. The message had taken Dr. Lee Min-ho and his team 7 years to perfect. Every word, every image, every mathematical equation had been carefully chosen to show the best of what humanity could offer. "Show me the package one more time," Park said. The main screen lit up with humanity's greeting to the stars. Musical compositions from every culture on Earth played alongside visual art that spanned centuries. The transmission included proof of the Riemann hypothesis, detailed scans of Earth's biodiversity, and philosophical treatises on peace and cooperation. Most importantly, it demonstrated that humans had been quietly listening to galactic communications for decades, learning languages and studying alien cultures. "We're not asking for charity," Dr. Lee had explained during the final review. "We're showing them we're ready to contribute as equals." Lieutenant Cho Byung-hun looked up from the engineering console. "Sir, the aliens will know we've been monitoring their networks. Is that wise?" Park smiled grimly. "Son, if we're going to join the galactic community, we might as well be honest about it. Besides, any species advanced enough for interstellar travel probably assumes younger civilizations are watching and learning." The transmission array hummed with barely contained energy. Technician Yang Hai-won made final adjustments to the quantum transmitters, while specialist Lim Ji-woo ran last-minute diagnostics on the signal boosters. This wasn't just a message, it was humanity's application to join something far greater than themselves. "All stations report ready, Commander," Kim Sora announced. Park took a deep breath. "Transmit." The array erupted in brilliant light as quantum-encoded signals raced toward distant stars. Humanity's voice was now traveling through space at speeds that bent the laws of physics, carrying their hopes and dreams to civilizations they had only dreamed about. 3,000 light-years away, the Galactic Confederation's monitoring station on Kepler 442b detected the incoming transmission. Senior Operator Vextal's crystalline features shifted from boredom to alarm as the signal's complexity became clear. "Administrator!" Vextal's 4 arms worked frantically at the control matrix. "Emergency priority transmission from the Soul." "System!" Administrator Gorthnek slithered over on his serpentine lower body, his 3 eyes focusing on the data streams. "Soul system? That's the primitive world with the carbon-based bipeds." "Not so primitive anymore," Vextal replied, his voice crackling with nervous energy. "Look at these quantum encoding patterns. This signal is using encryption methods we only developed 50 cycles ago." The transmission unfolded before them like a flower made of pure information, mathematical proofs that would challenge their greatest minds, art that spoke to emotions they didn't know existed. Most disturbing of all, fragments of their own communications, played back with perfect accuracy, proving these humans had been listening for far longer than anyone suspected. Within minutes, emergency alerts were racing across the Confederation's vast network. On the capital world of Nexus Prime, the Vorthan High Council convened in emergency session. Council leader Thexmar's 6-meter frame dominated the crystalline chamber as species representatives materialized through holographic projectors. "This cannot be allowed," Thexmar's mental voice resonated through the chamber. The Vorthan leader's tentacles writhed with agitation. "We have protocols for emerging species. They develop space flight, then radio, then basic quantum communications, over a span of several thousand rotations. These humans have compressed that timeline impossibly." Representative Quindar of the Hegemony flickered in his projection tank. "Perhaps they received outside assistance? Another species breaking the non-interference accords?" "No," reported Intelligence Chief Mortex. her insectoid features twitching. "Our deep scans show no alien technology on their world. They developed everything themselves, and they did it in less than 200 rotations." The chamber fell silent. A species that innovative, that adaptable, represented either the greatest opportunity or the greatest threat the Confederation had ever encountered. "They've been watching us," Thexmar continued, "learning our languages, studying our technology, mapping our trade routes. They know more about us than most member species knew before joining." "The message itself is remarkable," admitted Science Director Palvon. "Their mathematical insights alone could advance our research by decades, and their biological diversity is irrelevant." Thexmar's mental shout silenced the chamber. "They develop too fast, they learn too much. Species that advance this rapidly become unpredictable, dangerous." The vote was swift and unanimous. Humanity would be contained before they became a threat. 3 years had crawled by without a single word from the stars. Ambassador Yoon Da-eun walked the same corridors of Lunar Station where humanity had once broadcast their hopeful message to the galaxy. Now those same walls hummed with a different energy, the quiet tension of a species preparing for the worst. "Ma'am, you need to see this," Captain Choi Woo-jin called from the tactical center. His voice carried the weight of someone who'd been staring at bad news for hours. The holographic display showed the outer reaches of their solar system, dotted with red markers that seemed to multiply every few minutes. Yoon approached the display, her diplomatic training keeping her expression neutral even as her heart sank. "How many?" 317 confirmed vessels, Choi replied, manipulating the display to show different angles. "They're not even trying to hide. Look at these formations. Battle cruisers, dreadnoughts, carrier ships launching smaller attack craft. This isn't a diplomatic mission." The alien fleet stretched across space like a metal plague. Ships the size of cities moved in perfect coordination, their hulls bristling with weapons that could crack planets. Some vessels were sleek and organic-looking, clearly grown rather than built. Others appeared to be massive geometric constructs of pure energy contained within force fields. A few looked like living creatures, kilometer-long space whales with gun turrets grafted onto their backs. "Our deep space monitoring stations picked up their quantum signatures 6 days ago," reported Lieutenant Park Soo-young from her console. "They've been using something called null space corridors to move faster than we thought possible. Sir, some of these ships are older than human civilization." Yoon studied the tactical readouts. Each alien vessel represented technology. Humanity was still decades away from understanding. Yet their sensors had detected them. Their computers had decoded their communication protocols. Their defensive systems were tracking every movement. "How long do we have?" she asked. "At current speed, they'll reach Neptune's orbit in 18 hours, Choi answered. "But they're not rushing. They think they have all the time in the world." The ambassador turned to address the room full of officers and technicians. "Has there been any attempt at communication from their side?" "Nothing," replied Communications Officer Kim Min-woo. "Complete radio silence. They're treating this like a pest control operation." Yoon nodded grimly and moved to the transmission array. This second message to the galaxy would be very different from the first. She stood before the camera, her dark business suit replaced by the blue uniform of the United Earth Defense Force. Behind her, displays showed the approaching alien armada in all its terrible glory. "People of the Galactic Confederation," she began, her voice steady despite the circumstances. 3 years ago, we extended our hand in friendship. We offered to share our knowledge, our culture, our unique perspective as children of Earth. Your response has been to send an invasion fleet to our doorstep." She gestured to the tactical displays. "We are not blind. Our sensors can see your ships. Our computers have broken your communication codes. We know you're coming to destroy us because you fear what we might become. But we want you to understand something important. We are not the helpless primitives you believe us to be." The transmission included detailed scans of every ship in the alien fleet, weapons specifications, shield frequencies, crew complements, information that should have been impossible for a primitive species to obtain. The message also revealed humanity's own preparations, defense platforms hidden throughout the solar system, weapon systems that bent the laws of physics, and ships built with technology reverse-engineered from decades of intercepted alien communications. "We have been preparing for this day since we first heard your voices in the void," Yoon continued. "We hoped it would never come. We prayed that wisdom would prevail over fear. But if you insist on war, know that Earth's children are ready to defend their home." The transmission ended with a final offer. "We still hope for peace. Our hand remains extended. Choose wisely." The alien response came faster than expected. The main screen crackled to life with an image that made several officers step back in alarm. The creature speaking was clearly artificial, a geometric arrangement of crystalline structures that pulsed with internal light. When it spoke, the voice was like grinding metal trying to form human words. "Primitive species of Sol 3, it began, each word dripping with mechanical contempt. "Your expansion ends now. You have demonstrated capabilities beyond acceptable parameters for your development level. This violation of natural order cannot be permitted." The crystal being shifted, revealing weapon ports along what might have been its arms. "Surrender your technology and submit to Confederation oversight. Your species will be relocated to appropriate facilities where your dangerous innovation can be contained. You have one rotation of your primary star to comply. Resistance will result in planetary cleansing." The transmission cut off, leaving the command center in stunned silence. Lieutenant Commander Oh Young-ho was the first to speak. "One rotation. That's 24 hours. General Han Soo-min entered the command center just as the alien ultimatum ended. His weathered face showed no surprise. He'd been expecting this moment for years. The old soldier had lived through humanity's last great wars and knew the look of an enemy who saw negotiation as weakness. "Well," he said quietly, "they've made their choice." He turned to his staff officers. "Signal all defense stations across the system. Operation Iron Wall is now active. Send word to Mars Command, Europa Base, and the Titan shipyards. Tell them it's time to show these visitors what happens when you threaten Earth's children." Across the solar system, hidden facilities that had been dormant for years suddenly blazed to life. Asteroid mining stations revealed their true purpose as massive weapons platforms. Seemingly empty regions of space began transmitting activation codes. On a dozen moons and space stations, human crews who had trained their entire lives for this moment reported to battle stations. The die was cast. Humanity's peaceful introduction to the galaxy was over. Now they would meet their neighbors as warriors. Dr. Baek Yunji stood in the deepest chamber of Lunar Station's hidden facility, 2 kilometers beneath the moon's surface. The walls around her were lined with quantum transmitters, powerful enough to punch signals through galactic interference. Above her head, the lunar rock shook as alien scout ships swept past Neptune, their energy weapons already warming up for the slaughter they expected to find. Her hands trembled as she reached for the activation switch. Not from fear. She'd moved past that emotion days ago, but from the weight of what she was about to do. This would be humanity's final message to the galaxy, and she wanted every word to count. "Broadcasting in 10 seconds, announced technician Ryu Taimin from his console. His young face was pale but determined. Like everyone else in the facility, he'd volunteered for this mission knowing they might not survive the next few hours. The red recording light flickered on. Dr. Baek looked directly into the camera, her grey hair pulled back severely, her white lab coat stained with coffee, and the sweat of 36 hours without sleep. Behind her, holographic displays showed the alien armada spreading through their solar system like a cancer. "People of the Galactic Confederation," she began, her voice cutting through space with the clarity of quantum transmission. "3 years ago, we reached out to you in friendship. We shared our mathematics, our music, our dreams of walking among the stars as equals. We offered you everything we had learned in our brief time as a species." She gestured to the displays behind her, showing massive alien dreadnoughts advancing past Jupiter. Some looked like metallic sharks with rows of energy cannons along their flanks. Others resembled floating cities, covered in organic growths that pulsed with bioluminescent warnings. The largest ships defied description entirely, geometric impossibilities that hurt to look at directly. "Your answer was the barrel of a gun," she continued, her voice growing harder. You decided that humanity was too dangerous to exist, too innovative, too unpredictable. So you came to cage us like animals or wipe us out entirely. The facility shook again as something massive passed overhead. Through the quantum links, reports flooded in from across the solar system. Alien scouts were probing Earth's defenses, finding nothing but seemingly helpless civilian installations and outdated military satellites. So you see us as primitives who got lucky, Dr. Bike said, pulling up historical footage on her displays. Let me tell you what you're really dealing with. We are the children of a world that has known 10,000 wars. We invented gunpowder and used it to kill each other. We split the atom and turned it into a weapon. We conquered diseases that should have destroyed us and built machines that could think. The images shifted to show humanity's darkest moments: world wars, pandemics, natural disasters that would have broken other species, but also their recoveries, their adaptations, their refusal to give up. Every plague that swept our world made us stronger. Every war taught us new ways to survive. Every disaster showed us how to rebuild better than before. We didn't develop technology despite our violent nature. We developed it because of it. Necessity isn't just the mother of invention for humans. It's the father, the teacher, and the driving force of everything we've ever accomplished. Lieutenant Colonel Song Hana's voice crackled through the intercom from the tactical center. Doctor, enemy scouts are approaching Earth's orbital zone. They're about to get a surprise. Dr. Bayek nodded without taking her eyes off the camera. You think you're fighting a species that just learned to leave their home planet? You're wrong. We've been preparing for you since the day we first picked up your transmissions 43 years ago. Every alien language we decoded, every technology we reverse-engineered, every tactical doctrine we observed, it was all preparation for this moment. She paused, watching as the first alien scout ships entered Earth's defensive perimeter. On the tactical displays, dozens of red dots representing enemy vessels moved confidently toward what they believed was an undefended planet. We offered. "You peace because we know the true cost of war," she said, her voice dropping to almost a whisper. "We've paid that price in blood and tears for thousands of years. We hoped you would be wiser than us. We prayed you would choose cooperation over conquest." The lunar facility's main screen lit up with a brilliant flash from Earth's orbital zone. The first alien scout had just discovered that the abandoned mining station it was investigating was actually a weapons platform carrying enough firepower to vaporize a small moon. "But if this is how you answer peace," Dr. Beck continued, her voice rising with quiet fury, "if this is how you respond to an offered hand of friendship, then you'll regret this war, because we are not the children of a gentle world. We are the survivors of a planet that tried to kill us every single day, and we not only survived, we thrived." More flashes erupted across the displays as hidden defense platforms throughout the solar system revealed themselves. Asteroid mining facilities dropped their camouflage and began targeting enemy ships. Seemingly empty space suddenly blazed with weapon signatures as cloaked human vessels decloaked for the first time. "You wanted to see what humanity is capable of," Dr. Bike said, standing up from her chair. "You're about to find out. Earth's children are coming home to defend their mother, and we've learned a few things during our time among the stars." She reached forward and pressed a button that sent activation codes to every human military installation from Mercury to the Kuiper Belt. Across the solar system, weapons that had been hidden for decades suddenly came online. Ships that had masqueraded as cargo haulers revealed missile batteries. Space stations that appeared to be simple research facilities began charging particle beam arrays. "This is Dr. Bayek Yunji, speaking for the United Earth Defense Force," she concluded. "We tried peace, you chose war. Don't say we didn't warn you." The transmission ended, but its effects rippled across human space immediately. On Mars, General Kim Jong-soo watched as camouflaged hangars opened to reveal squadrons of fighter craft built with alien-inspired technology. On Europa, Admiral Park Min-jung gave the order for the ice mining platforms to rotate and reveal the massive railguns hidden beneath their industrial facades. In the asteroid belt, Captain Lee Dong-hyun smiled grimly as his cargo ship shed its outer hull plating to reveal the weapons-bristling warship underneath. Throughout the solar system, humanity's true defensive network awakened like a sleeping giant opening its eyes. The aliens had expected to find a primitive species cowering on a single world. Instead, they were about to discover that Earth's children had spread throughout their solar system like a virus, and every installation, every ship, every seemingly innocent piece of human infrastructure had been designed with one purpose in mind: killing anyone who threatened their home. The war for humanity's survival was about to begin, and the galaxy was about to learn why you should never corner a species that had clawed its way to the top of the food chain on one of the universe's most dangerous worlds. Admiral Song Tai-hyun stood on the bridge of the HSS Indomitable, his weathered hands clasped behind his back as he watched the alien armada advance through the asteroid belt. The massive Confederation fleet moved in perfect formation, their ships gliding through space with the confidence of predators who had never faced real resistance. "Sir, enemy fleet composition is even larger than we estimated," reported Commander Nam Ji-yeon from her tactical station. "I'm counting 412 vessels now. Dreadnoughts, battlecruisers, and something that looks like a mobile space station the size of a small moon." Song nodded slowly, his eyes tracking the holographic display that showed the alien fleet's approach. Some of their ships were beautiful in a terrifying way, crystalline structures that caught starlight and threw it back in deadly rainbows. Others looked like mechanical nightmares, all angles and weapon ports. The largest vessels appeared to be living creatures, kilometer-long space whales, with cities built on their backs and cannon turrets grafted into their flesh. "They're not even scanning for threats," observed Lieutenant Commander Park Jae-sung from the sensor station. "Look at their formation. Tight combat spread, weapons powered but not actively targeting. They think they're approaching a defenseless world." The alien fleet commander, a grotesque creature called Warlord Vexthul, sat in his command throne aboard the flagship Dominion's Fist. His insectoid body was augmented with cybernetic implants that allowed him to interface directly with his ship's weapons systems. Through compound eyes that could see across 17 different spectrums, he studied the primitive solar system spread out before him. "Pathetic," he clicked to his subordinates. "Their defensive installations are decades behind our technology. A few orbital platforms, some outdated missile silos on their moon. This will be over in less than one rotation." His tactical officer, a slug-like creature named Globemore, oozed closer to the command throne. "Shall we begin planetary bombardment immediately, Warlord?" "No," Vexthul replied, his mandibles clicking with amusement. "Let them see our full strength first. I want their final moments filled with despair." "Back on the Indomitable, Admiral." Song watched the alien fleet reach the outer edge of the asteroid belt. This was the moment they had been preparing for since humanity first detected alien transmissions. Everything depended on perfect timing and the enemy's overconfidence. "Sir, all stations report ready," announced Commander Nam Ji-yeon. "Mars Command confirms green status. Europa Base is standing by. Titan shipyards report all vessels deployed and waiting." Song took a deep breath. "Signal all units across the system. Execute Protocol 7. The transformation was immediate and spectacular. What the aliens had dismissed as a field of drifting space rocks suddenly came alive with deadly purpose. Asteroids that had been hollowed out over decades rotated to reveal massive particle beam cannons. Rock surfaces slid away to expose missile batteries that could crack a moon in half. Chunks of ice and metal that had floated aimlessly for millions of years revealed themselves as camouflaged weapons platforms. "What in the void's name?" Warlord Vexthul began, then stopped as his sensors started screaming warnings. The asteroid field around his fleet wasn't empty space. It was the largest minefield in galactic history. "Contact," shouted Lieutenant Kang Min-seo from her weapons station aboard the Indomitable. "Asteroid Platform 77 Alpha has target lock on enemy flagship." The first salvo lit up space like a newborn star. Beams of pure energy lanced out from hidden positions throughout the asteroid belt, striking alien ships that had no idea they were flying into a trap. The Dominion's Fist rocked as its shields absorbed hits from weapons that shouldn't exist on a primitive world, but that was only the beginning. On Mars, what appeared to be simple mining colonies suddenly opened like metal flowers. Massive hangar doors that had been disguised as geological features slid back to reveal entire fleets of human warships. The red planet's surface erupted with launch platforms as hundreds of fighters and bombers streaked toward the confused alien fleet. Europa followed suit moments later. The ice mining stations on Jupiter's moon had always seemed like peaceful, industrial facilities. Now they revealed their true nature as military shipyards. Vessels that had been constructed in secret over the past decade emerged from beneath the frozen surface, their hulls gleaming with weapons systems reverse-engineered from captured alien technology. "Impossible!" Warlord Vexthul screamed as his tactical displays filled with new contacts. The intelligence report said they were confined to one world. How can they have military installations throughout their entire system? His communications officer, a reptilian creature with 6 arms, hissed in panic. "Sir, I'm detecting massive energy signatures from their gas giant moons. They have shipyards hidden in the ice rings of Saturn." The Titan facilities were the crown jewel of humanity's secret military buildup. For 20 years, they had masqueraded as simple research stations studying Saturn's rings. In reality, they were the most advanced starship construction facilities humanity had ever built. Now those facilities released their products, a fleet of human dreadnoughts that had been designed specifically to fight alien technology. Captain Lee Seung-ho commanded the lead Titan vessel, the HSS Defiance. His ship was a hybrid of human engineering and alien concepts, built with salvaged materials from crashed alien probes and powered by fusion reactors that pushed the boundaries of known physics. "All weapons free," he announced to his crew. "Show these invaders what happens when you threaten Earth." The human ships didn't fight like anything the aliens had encountered before. Instead of maintaining rigid formations, they swarmed like angry hornets, using their smaller size and superior maneuverability to dart between the massive alien vessels. Human fighters buzzed around Confederation dreadnoughts like mosquitoes, around elephants, striking at vulnerable points with precision that spoke of decades of careful study. "Sir, they know our weak spots," reported Globomor, his slimy form quivering with fear. "They're targeting our shield generators, our engine cooling systems, our weapon power conduits. How can they know these things?" Warlord Vexthul's compound, eyes widened as the terrible truth dawned on him. "They've been studying us. Every probe we sent, every scout ship that disappeared in the outer rim, they captured them. They learned our technology, our tactics, our weaknesses." On the Indomitable, Lieutenant Kang Min-seo watched her tactical display with grim satisfaction. "Sir, enemy formation is breaking apart. They're trying to reorganize, but our swarm tactics are preventing effective coordination." Admiral Song allowed himself a small smile. "Signal all units, press the attack. Show them what happens when you underestimate humanity." Throughout the solar system, the trap continued to unfold. Cargo vessels that had been hauling supplies between planets suddenly dropped their camouflage to reveal missile cruisers. Space stations that appeared to be simple research facilities began launching waves of attack drones. Even the seemingly innocent solar collection arrays near Mercury rotated to focus concentrated sunlight into devastating beam weapons. The aliens had come expecting to conquer a primitive species on a single world. Instead, they found themselves facing an entire solar system that had been converted into the largest military fortress in galactic history. Every asteroid, every moon, every piece of human infrastructure had been designed with one purpose in mind: defending Earth from exactly this kind of invasion. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology or their weapons. It was their ability to turn everything around them into a weapon when survival was at stake. Captain Oh Hyun-woo gripped the command rail of the HSS Retribution as his ship carved through the chaos of the alien fleet like a blade through silk. Around him, the bridge crew worked with deadly precision, their movements honed by years of simulation and preparation. This wasn't their first battle. It was the culmination of everything humanity had learned about war. "Enemy dreadnought bearing 27 Mark IV is attempting to retreat," reported Weapons Officer Kim Sung-min, his fingers dancing across holographic targeting displays. "Should we pursue?" "Negative," Oh replied coldly. Let them run. I want survivors to spread the word. He turned to his tactical officer. Commander Shin Yejin, what's the status on their flagship? The massive alien command ship, Dominion's Fist, was trying to escape the solar system, its hull scarred and bleeding atmosphere from dozens of hits. Warlord Vexthul's once mighty vessel now limped through space, half its weapon systems destroyed, and its shields flickering like a dying light. Sir, the flagship's engines are damaged, Shin reported. They're moving at quarter speed and venting plasma. Their communications array is still active, perfect for sending a message home. Oh smiled grimly. Good. Begin focused assault on all command vessels. I want their leadership to understand exactly what they've walked into. The human fleet moved like a pack of wolves, targeting the alien command structure with surgical precision. Unlike the rigid formations favored by the Galactic Confederation, human ships fought with fluid adaptability. Squadrons of fighters darted between massive enemy dreadnoughts, striking at weak points identified through decades of studying captured alien technology. Lieutenant Commander Park In-ho led a wing of human bombers against a crystalline alien cruiser that looked like a floating cathedral made of living diamond. The creature ship's bioluminescent weapons pulsed with deadly energy, but its organic nature made it vulnerable to the phosphorus-based explosives humanity had developed specifically for biological targets. Target their neural clusters, Park ordered his squadron. Remember, these living ships feel pain. Use that against them. The bombers struck with devastating effect. The crystal ship's surface erupted in flashes of bioluminescent agony as its nervous system overloaded. The creature vessel writhed in space, its death screams transmitted across alien communication frequencies for the entire Confederation fleet to hear. On the alien flagship, Warlord Vexthul watched his forces crumble with growing horror. His cybernetic implants fed him tactical data that made no sense. These humans were using strategies that shouldn't exist, tactics that seemed to anticipate every move his fleet made. How can they predict our maneuvers? He clicked desperately to his surviving officers. We've never encountered this species in battle before. His tactical officer, what remained of Globomore after a human missile had turned half his slug-like body into paste, oozed closer with terrible news. Sir, they're not reacting to our tactics. They're implementing counter-strategies developed from our own training programs. They've been studying us for decades. The truth was even worse than Vexthul feared. Human intelligence had been intercepting Confederation military transmissions since they first heard alien voices in the void. Every training exercise, every tactical doctrine, every classified battle plan had been recorded, analyzed, and turned into weapons against their creators. Captain Yu Haiwan commanded a squadron of human destroyers that moved through the alien fleet like ghosts. Her ships used stealth technology reverse-engineered from captured alien scouts, making them nearly invisible to Confederation sensors until they struck. Target the organic supply ships, she ordered. Cut off their ability to repair and resupply. The human destroyers emerged from stealth directly behind the alien logistics vessels, massive biomechanical hybrids that looked like space whales crossed with industrial complexes. These creatures had been bred for centuries to support Confederation fleets in deep space. Now they died screaming as human weapons tore through their unarmored hulls. The battle raged for 3 days and nights, but the outcome was never truly in doubt. The aliens had come expecting to face a primitive species with basic space technology. Instead, they encountered a military force that had been preparing for this exact scenario for decades. Every human weapon, every tactic, every strategic decision had been designed with one purpose: killing anyone who threatened Earth. By the end of the 3rd day, the space around Earth looked like a graveyard of alien ambitions. Thousands of Confederation vessels drifted dead in the void, their hulls cracked open and their crews either dead or fleeing in escape pods. The few surviving command ships limped toward the edge of the solar system, broadcasting desperate retreat signals to any allies who might still be listening. Dr. Jiang Su-young stood in the communication center of Lunar Station, looking out at, the debris field that had once been humanity's would-be conquerors. Twisted metal from a dozen different alien civilizations floated past the viewport. crystalline fragments from living ships, mechanical wreckage from robot vessels, and organic matter from creatures that had evolved in the depths of alien oceans. "Are we ready to broadcast?" she asked Communications Officer Bei Min-jun. "Yes, ma'am. Signal will reach every major Confederation hub within hours." Dr. Zhang activated the recording system, her expression calm, but her eyes burning with the cold fire of someone who had seen her species threatened and had watched them respond with devastating effectiveness. "People of the Galactic Confederation," she began, her voice carrying clearly across the quantum communication networks that connected civilizations across the galaxy. "3 days ago, you came to our solar system with 400 ships and the intention of wiping out humanity. Today, less than 50 of those ships remain functional, and they're fleeing our space as fast as their damaged engines can carry them." She gestured to the wreckage visible through the station's viewport. "We came to you in peace years ago. We offered friendship, knowledge, and cooperation. We showed you our art, our science, and our dreams of walking among the stars as equals. Your answer was an invasion fleet." The transmission included tactical footage from the battle, human ships dancing between alien dreadnoughts, weapons platforms emerging from disguised asteroids, and the systematic destruction of a fleet that had conquered dozens of worlds before. "Coming to Earth. You taught us that peace is a luxury the universe doesn't offer freely," Dr. Zhang continued. "You showed us that in this galaxy, survival belongs to those strong enough to take it and clever enough to keep it. Consider this our graduation from your cosmic kindergarten." She paused, watching as a massive piece of alien hull plating tumbled past the station, its surface still glowing from the weapons fire that had torn it free. "We are no longer asking for a place at your galactic table. We're taking it. Earth and her colonies are now under human protection, and any species that threatens us will face the same fate as the fleet currently decorating our solar system with their wreckage." The final part of her message was delivered with the quiet confidence of someone speaking absolute truth. "If any of you ever threaten Earth again, remember this day. Remember that we offered you peace, and you chose war. Remember that we gave you every chance to welcome us as friends. Next time, and there will be a next time, we won't be so merciful." The transmission ended, but its effects rippled across the galaxy immediately. On Nexus Prime, the Vorthan High Council watched the footage in stunned silence. The species they had dismissed as primitive upstarts had just humiliated the largest invasion fleet in Confederation history. Council leader Thexmar's tentacles writhed with emotions that had no names in any language, a mixture of fear, respect, and the terrible understanding that the galaxy had just gained a new apex predator. "What have we done?" whispered Intelligence Chief Mortex, her insectoid features twitching with nervous energy. The answer was simple and terrifying. They had awakened humanity to the true nature of the universe, and now Earth's children were coming to claim their place among the stars, not as supplicants begging for acceptance, but as conquerors taking what they deserved. The age of human expansion was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same. The end.